Now in closing, I ask you to consider these 4 questions. I call them questions to ponder. The first question is why? Why should you try? Kids often ask, why? It's a good question. Ask yourself, why get up that early? Why work that hard? Why read that many books? Why make that many friends? Why go that far? Why earn that much? Why give that much away? Why put yourself through all those disciplines? Why is an excellent question. The best answer I know to the question why is the second question to ponder. Why not? What else are you going to do with your life? Why not see how far you can go, how much you can earn, or read, or share? Why not see what you can become, or how far you can go? Why not? You have to stay here until you go. Why not? The third question goes a bit further. Why not you? Some people have done the most incredible things with a limited start. Why not you? Some people do so well they get to see it all. Why not you? Why not you watching the morning mist rise over the mountains of Scotland, soaking up history in London, or exploring the mysteries of Spain? Why not you having lunch in one of those neat little sidewalk cafes in Paris? There's nothing like a stroll through the Palace of Versailles. Someday you must gaze directly at the Mona Lisa. Why not you on a sailing schooner in the Caribbean? 2 weeks there and you lose all your cares. I can show you where to find the most exquisite seashells in Australia. I know where they are. Why not you? Why not you shopping on Fifth Avenue in New York City, staying at the Waldorf, or having sliced roast goose on a bed of apple strudel at Luchow's? Stop off and drink in an Arizona sunset. Take a quiet walk along the beach with that incredible feeling, knowing you are enjoying the result of a disciplined effort. Why not you, with an unusual awareness to the heartbeat of life? Why not you? The last question is the key to action. Why not now? Why postpone your better future any longer? Get at it today. Get some new books, make a new plan, set a new goal. Ask some new questions, lock on to a new resolve, make a new effort, and do it all now. Another thing is to ask for God's help, which may sound a little strange. This is not a religious program. My personal word would be that humans are unique, but we could all use a little extra help. Of course, it's a two-way street. I think God will do His part if we will do our part. During this program, we have talked about our part. There is a story about a man who took a rock pile and in 2 years turned it into a fabulous garden, and people came from everywhere to see it. One day a man came by, saw the garden, and thought it was fabulous, but he wanted to make sure the gardener did not take all the credit. He had this deep feeling inside that a lot of people leave God out. So he toured the garden and had a chance to meet the gardener. When he met him, he shook his hand and said, "Mr. Gardener, you and the good Lord together have made this beautiful garden." The gardener understood his message and his point, so he said, "I think that's true. If it was not for the sunshine and the rain, and the miracle of the seed and the soil and the seasons, there would be no garden at all. But," he said, "you know, you should have seen this place a couple of years ago when God had it all by Himself." I think that's true. We do play an important part in this challenge called making all we can out of all we have.
I think the biggest shift in our lives, the things that makes us the happiest, is that when somebody helps us identify our natural giftedness. If someone points out a gift about you that you also kind of intuitively know to be true, so you're linked to them, like, you're intense, you're passionate, you won't get outworked, you're relentless. So I am those things. And when someone linked those gifts to me winning, now I believed I could win. That's the other way to change your identity. Is when someone can link your giftedness to the victory, you'll believe it. And so that's a natural giftedness for you, which is why there's a part of you that kind of knows, you wouldn't say it, but I am pretty good at this. Now my identity's changing. Now my life takes a different direction.
I can tell you that now. Be aware of that. Things are not going to work out exactly right. For a time they will, sometimes. And that's when life is just playing a game with you. Want you to feel good and relax. But ladies and gentlemen, go into action with your dream. And don't avoid where the fights are. Get in the midst of the fight. Get knocked down so you can learn how to fight, so you can hold your position.
The things that define you as successful existed long before you were becoming successful. The relationship with your family, the health in your body, the ability to command your arm to raise and it raises, the ability to smell the roses and to enjoy laughter, to laugh until your belly hurts, the ability to have faith and pray and see and believe in the unseen.
I failed for funny things that I failed a key primary school test for 2 times. And I failed 3 times for the middle school. No, I tried. There's an examination that young people, if you want to go university, you have to take the examinations. So I failed 3 times. When I graduated from universities, and before for 3 years I tried to fail in the universities. So I applied jobs for 30 times, got rejected.
This sympathetic nervous system of fight or flight, and you're fighting. It gives you this charge of energy, and you're already at a disadvantage, but you're still there. You can feed into that and tap into that for a lot of power. But if you look at it, well, I'm broken, man. I'm not going to make it. But if you look at it as, man, I'm broken and I'm still here. And I'm fighting, and I'm going to find a way to get through this. When things start to suck really, really bad, we got to go. We got to run, because I have no other place to go. It gives you a lot of power.
You see, successful people, we don't use hope as a strategy, because the minute you use the word hope, what you're saying is you have no power, you have no control over the outcome. When you give away that responsibility, you also give away that power. You have no control, you have no choice.
Because people perform better when there's no safety net. People perform better in sports and everything else.
And believing in yourself is nothing more than doing the things that you once didn't believe that you could do. You see, confidence comes from competence.
When I was writing Leaders Eat Last, I got to the point where I couldn't do it. It was too difficult. I couldn't organize all the information. It was just too complicated. I couldn't do it, and I'd been trying for months. I probably missed multiple deadlines, and I was sitting at my computer, and I decided that I had to give up. I couldn't do it. And so I got up and went for a walk, and I was literally planning my exit. I was going through the steps, I was going through the checklist of quitting. I knew that I'd have to give my advance back to the publisher, because technically I'm in breach. I knew that I would be humiliated, but I was preparing myself for it, and that I would get over it. I was also rationalizing that it was okay to quit. I told myself there are thousands, 10,000 books published every single year. No one will miss this one book. And I literally went through the steps to prepare myself for what I had to do to quit. I'm not sure why I did this, but I called a friend of mine who at the time was in the Air Force Special Forces, and I don't even think I said hello when he picked up the phone. I simply asked the question, what do you do when you can't complete the mission? And as is his habit, he just started telling me a story. He was a helicopter pilot, and they had a mission in Afghanistan that was a suicide mission. All the intelligence showed that the air defenses were just too great, and none of them were going to come out alive. And it wasn't going to be one of those kill Hitler missions where we're all going to die, but we'll kill Hitler. This is like, we're all going to die, and the mission will also fail. And he was preparing his helicopter for this mission, and his wingman turned to him and said, what do we do? We've got wives, we've got kids. Do we refuse to go? What do we do? And my friend turned to him and he said, this is what we signed up for. We go. He asked me, he said, is this book more or less powerful than start with why. I said, the research has impacted me greater. It's more powerful. He says, all right, I'm going to tell you a funny story. Before I met you, I'd become disillusioned with the Air Force and I was going to quit. And I found this kooky little book called Start With Why, and it completely re-inspired me. And I decided to stay, and I'm a better leader now than I was before because of that book. And if you're saying that this book is more powerful than the first one, then we need this book. He said, this is what you signed up for. You have no choice. Clearly his mission was scrapped at the last minute. The underlying message of this is what you signed up for, you have no choice, wasn't a mean message. The underlying message was, and I will be here with you. The underlying message was, no matter what, you can call me at any time. I've got your back. And that's the important part. I turned around, went back to my desk, and finished writing that book. Not that night. I mean, it took me months, but I never thought of quitting ever again. As soon as I knew that someone was there, someone had my back.
An ability to control your levels of stress in real time is extremely powerful. It turns out you can do this using physiology and neuroscience. Your breathing can directly impact your heart rate and your level of stress or calm. Here's how it works. When you inhale, your diaphragm moves down. This creates more space in your thoracic cavity, and your heart actually gets a little bit bigger. As a consequence, the rate of blood flow through that larger heart volume slows down. A signal is sent from a group of neurons on your heart called the sinoatrial node. That signal goes up to the brain, and your brain sends a signal to speed the heart up. In other words, inhaling speeds your heart rate up. The opposite is true as well. When you exhale, your diaphragm moves up. Your heart gets a little bit smaller because there's a little bit less space in your thoracic cavity. As a consequence, blood flows more quickly through that smaller volume. The sinoatrial node registers that and sends a signal to your brain, and the brain sends a signal to slow the heart down. So in other words, inhaling speeds your heart rate up, exhaling slows your heart rate down. So if you want to speed up your heart rate and be more alert, inhale more or make those inhales more vigorous, more intense. If you want to calm down, you can do that quickly by making your exhales slightly longer than your inhales or making them more vigorous. This doesn't require any breath work. This is something that you can do in real time. And that's what's called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. That's the technical phrase. It's also the basis of what's called heart rate variability, or HRV. But all you need to remember is inhaling deeper and longer will speed your heart rate up. Exhaling longer and more intensely will slow your heart rate down and will allow you to calm down in real time.